Game 5. The silver has been scraped, and we are into picks and bans. Taliyah and Rise on the side of Clutch Gaming. See that Gangplank and Azir, something Febiven was able to control the game with very well. We have yet to see that Taliyah throughout this matchup. Thresh gets taken away from Hakuho. One final ban before we get into the picks.
Swain is what I expect here from Clutch Gaming.
And it's a triple mid lane ban this time, red side from Clutch. So the Rise, the Taliyah, and the Swain.
Yeah, you expect Kate, and then I would say Xayah Rakan is not what you should go for here because Morgana is still up, and it's kind of the Kate, the counter.
At the same time, though, 100 Thieves had the option last game, and they chose to take the Tahm Kench instead of the Morgana. So maybe they're comfortable to go for it once more. They will not, but I'm very excited to see some of the adaptations. You know, does Ssumday and do 100 Thieves think that, okay, it wasn't matchup on the top, it just things went bad with the jungle pressure? You know, is that the reason we lost? Or are they saying, no, I can't play that matchup? You know, where are the adaptations coming in the top lane? Because that has been, I think, you know, while most of the games decided in the bottom lane, the top lane has been very matchup dependent, has been very pivotal in getting your team that extra gold. Because when Ssumday had that Cho'Gath, he was picking up the turrets, and now on the Sion versus Shen, there's a turn for Solo to grab some of the turret gold.
And like you said, that top lane was a big part of it, but I also think the jungle matchup too, because Meteos got to play Olaf 3 games in a row, and now LirA's taken it away.
He's been in all 5 games.
Exactly, and so LirA's been able to take it away in the last one and have it here too. Blinding Camille would be big, but I don't think he's going to do it. You pick your jungler here and try to get a better matchup.
Well, I actually really like the Trundle here in this specific spot because you don't know if it's top or jungle, right? Yes, it is more likely for it to be jungle against the Olaf, but then if we see, you know, perhaps a really good matchup in the top lane, like you pick a Cho'Gath or something like that, Trundle can do very well into those, so that could be pretty nice. Wouldn't be surprised to see either LeBlanc or the Corki. I think both of those are pretty solid answers from Febiven into the Galio, things that can sometimes take advantage, but he is obviously going for the Ezreal there and already had the Orianna locked in.
But once again, it looks like 100 Thieves so far gravitating towards a Cody Sun centered team depending on what happens with that top lane, because the Galio is a big beefy tank, can go mid or top, and then the Trundle, another person who also lowers the tankiness of his opposition. So you're looking at Cody Sun dealing a lot of damage in these fights and having a strong, beefy front line so far. I imagine Morgana would be kind of what they want on 100 Thieves side here. Potentially Braum also would be a little bit further down the tier list for them. But those are kind of the two I'm looking at here to buff up Cody Sun during the lane phase and help him later.
Yeah, and Cho'Gath is going to be banned away, so that's still going to be unavailable here. 400 Thieves, and Solo has the ability to actually save his pick for last, as they did most recently. But in that game where they actually did the Alistar blind, it really did not really work out for Hakuho. You know, picking that without seeing some of those final picks, and it didn't really end up giving him a lot of options for who to engage on.
Yeah, potentially, like I said, the Braum or Morgana, I think both teams are kind of highly prioritizing that here. 100 Thieves, I wonder if they'll ban another support here, because then it's potential for Clutch Gaming to just take kind of the other one of those two that are really up there in the tier list. But the Alistar making sure they don't go for that blind again.
That's pretty interesting because you can just, as you said, grab the Braum, but then maybe they're feeling like, hey, Morgana's actually a pretty good matchup into the Braum, and Morgana plus Caitlyn should be a pretty heavily advantaged into an Ezreal plus Braum, but at the same time, you know, it can go the other way. Maybe the Morgana does finally get picked up here for Hakuho because has been getting banned away. Okay.
So the Ornn was left up here. I believe it's been banned in every game except for, it looks like game 2. So 100 Thieves have just been saying, let's not have Solo on that champion. I mean, he solo killed Hansor on it, and then he was able to make a lot of plays on that champion too. The team fighting ultimate is huge.
And the question becomes, is Ssumday willing to now pick a carry into this, or is he just going to grab a Sion or a Shen for himself and just say, all right, we're just going to play that even, and there is your answer?
I think it's Sion and Braum. I think you go Braum here so you can stop the Ornn ultimate and kind of negate what he wants to do in these team fights.
I think that's a good call out. You know, the Braum into the Ornn is very strong. It may give you a bit more of a disadvantage in that bot lane 2v2, and then it just becomes, what do you prioritize more? Do you prioritize the team fighting, or do you say, hey, Aphro, win bottom lane for us, get on a range support, and it is going to be the Braum.
Yeah, it just seems to be stopping the Ornn, which was a big pain point for them in terms of pick and ban. They've been banning it the whole time, so make sure that that's okay. Now you have 4 tanks and a Cody as your team composition, a classic here.
Yeah.
And they won last time with this, right? This was kind of 2 games ago, you know, in game 3, essentially the draft that they got. But Hakuho is going to get his Morgana This is a big-time player on his signature pick in Game 5. And I've got to say, I like it. I like it a lot. I do think that this is what you want to do. You want to enable your star players to really take over a game. You know, give them that opportunity. You have LirA, who has been fantastic on the Olaf, and you have Hakuho on this playmaking Morgana, Apollo on this mobile AD carry, which he has really been excelling on. And this is going to be a very exciting game.
I love it. You find players' ability to step up towards the end of a season really shining through here as well. So we have 20 seconds to get into our final game, 100 Thieves versus Clutch. As Clutch is, or 100 Thieves, I should say, back on that blue side. Fun fact, well, depending on who you are, coming into this probably has yet to take a semifinals in the LCS. So he's looking to break that as well.
And never made the trip to the finals. He was coaching in the ULCS. He's actually won Coach of the Split multiple times, but never been in a final, which is a crazy stat to me. But this is for all the marbles. Game 5, semifinals.
Yep.
Winner will face Liquid for the NA LCS Championship.
Absolutely crazy. We're moments from the rift here in Game 5. The crowd is pumped and patiently waiting. They knew it was going to 5. They're just like, let's get there already. But it was an awesome show from both teams along the way. And now we are presented with this beautiful 5th game here.
And so far, we've seen decent invades, or at least pushes early. I wonder what it is for Game 5, because people will typically play safer, play a fan out. But we've seen a lot of invades, especially with something like Braum.
And that's why sometimes being aggressive there can catch people off guard. I mean, when you're playing a Morgana plus an Olaf, certainly some strong level 1 potential to catch people, but it is going to be field of scrimmage for both teams. And to talk a little bit about the 100 Thieves side, this is very clearly a team fighting squad, right? It is 4 tanks and a Cody Sun, as you said, and you also have Trundle to shred through that Braum, or sorry, the Ornn or the Olaf there with his ultimate is going to make you a lot more susceptible to getting burst down.
Yeah, and another great thing about the Trundle is you typically say, okay, just the ultimate will actually add the utility, but the pillar is huge, and then press the attack. Enhances the damage of other people on your team once you proc it, and so the press the attack is also very effective against tanks. So he's a great duelist. He de-tanks tanks, I guess. Like, makes him squishier.
Untankify.
Yeah.
Oh, Hakuho is going to get stunned here.
Ooh, and the flash. We saw that happen in Game 1.
That was kind of cocky from Hakuho, honestly, to be sticking around that long. He missed multiple bindings in a row, still just trying to fish for a little bit of Spell Thief Scold, and 100 Thieves kind of make a collapse there. They're going to punish him. Starting flashless really sucks in these sorts of matches. When you are a ranged support, you want to be more aggressive, you want to be pushing up, but being down a flash means you can just get straight up run down.
Exactly, and against a Braum who's going to be able to W to a minion, hit you, and we've seen Aphromoo be very confident in those flash Q plays where he just gets right up in your face so he can't really miss it and then be able to burst you. So we'll see what Hakuho does here. I expect the E to come in level 2 just to make sure. But 100 Thieves, if they are somehow able to get the push here, which they are, they're going to be level 2 first. And this is a big deny here from Clutch.
Quick hits, a few more tags. Not like they're going to do too much on this. And slowly denying minions. Nice push up from Cody Sun there.
Yeah, it's like he ate a Q. How bad? But he's actually blocking so that the Ezreal can't get that last hit. He's actually sacrificing his life so that Apollo doesn't get gold.
And when you do have, overheal and your endurance shield and so on and so forth, you're able to do that a little bit more aggressively, sometimes trading out your life if you are sitting on full. But top lane is going to be very interesting to me to see really who gets the advantage. You can see Ssumday on the Sion, kind of take a page out of Solo's book, and he is going minion dematerializer to deal with any potential banner shenanigans. And also, it is nice, even if there is not a banner, just to be able to use it on cannons and get the faster roam, because there is the potential for you to move over towards mid lane and try to catch someone with an ult.
They see him, but I don't think they can do anything about this. Olaf's clear is too fast and too healthy.
Pushed up as well from Febiven. He just had the...
Not healthy, but...
I mean, had the wave in his favor.
Yeah, I mean in clear speed. That's usually how I say it. It's just like, if you can clear the jungle quickly, it's a healthy clear, but... I will have to change my own terminology for that.
There you go. Learning on the fly. Just 3 minutes in, I'm back here from Ryu. Get himself sorted out. Febiven as well might take this time to go back. Might slip one more wave, it seems. He feels like the pressure is going to be added there. Teleport in from Ryu, and now there'll be a little bit of an item mismatch. Never
And
mind. He's
because of the base timings, if Febiven leaves here, he's actually going to get stopped. But
Right.
he would have lost that wave because there's not a cannon wave he's basing on, so it is a tough time to actually go back to base. And in the previous game when they had this matchup, Febiven was able to actually have the push heavily enough that Ryu had to base under his own turret, and thus that gave Febiven a chance. And we might see LirA just need to walk into mid lane and help him shove this out to actually get a good back off. LirA is spotted out on that ward, doesn't know it, and don't think we'll see the trend of super early dragons continue when his bottom lane is pushed in. That would just be way too risky.
Yeah, he doesn't have Scuttle Crab either, so it would be actually a death sentence.
You can still try.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Someone's got to get threshed in this game somehow.
Yeah.
It's Aphromoo and it's Hakuho. We haven't got it once.
Yeah, it's gotten banned multiple times, but
Feels bad.
yeah, definitely don't do the Drake there, despite what Riv and Solo Q will tell you.
Hey,
Or alternatively, try it and see what happens.
there you go. You're living on the edge. That's the way it makes it fun.
Exactly.
Where's the pressure going to be
Gotta
first?
risk it.
Up towards his red, but up towards the top side of the map more so. LirA taking definitely more jungle-oriented paths than we saw Meteos lane.
Top lane,
gank.
top lane. He's going top right now, and somebody's in a bad spot.
Coming out of the jungle once again, under total lockdown right before he flashed, which added the slow, really negating the fact that he tried to get distance.
The position there was fantastic from Solo. This is why they've been banning his Ornn away. He actually uses the Ornn Q next to walls to increase the terrain and actually block you off. He did it against Hansard, knocking the Camille E out and getting a solo kill, and now he's doing it up against Ssumday, kind of stopping his pathing.
But I would say this is actually not a bad trade for 100 Thieves if they're able to secure this Infernal. Meteos is there. They have the pushing bottom lane. They have the pushing mid lane. So Infernal for first blood, while it is more power in the pockets of Clutch right now, the way the series has been going, all the games have been long. And you definitely will favor the Infernal over that couple hundred gold in a long game.
Ooh, another Infernal? I guess that's Infernal
Ooh.
number 2 is what we're getting next. And yeah, 100 Thieves will want to revisit that, but watch how he uses it. The Q comes up behind Ssumday, so Ssumday can't really retreat the same way he'd like. And then Solo puts himself between the pillar and the minion, so he actually blocks him off.
And honestly, Ssumday had no business flashing there. With an Olaf up in your face with that, if you get tagged by an Axe, there's no way you're getting out. If you're level 6, I can see the flash into ultimate as an escape, but at level 5, I think you just have to accept your death and hold on to that summoner because you're only exposing yourself more to the repeat game.
Small plus for Ssumday. It was a bit pushed up, so he got to walk back to lane before missing too much. Back to this cannon wave, so 36 to 34. But that pressure now towards topside. We heard the analyst desk reference in the beginning of the day, Solo with that jungle proximity, most solo deaths, but also not getting a lot of proximity himself is getting a little love from LirA this series, and it's really helping out the competition.
And it's always interesting to see those mix-ups. I always think it is intelligent, even if it's not going to be your long-term game plan. Every once in a while, do an invade. Every once in a while, hard camp a lane you never go to. Because then your opponents have to at least give you the respect that it could happen. Even if it never happens again. It's something that has to be in the back of their minds, because when you never go top laners get to play so aggressively and with so much disrespect to the jungle, and that allows them to have more of an advantage against solo.
And if they aren't respecting it, it'll be able to get you a game like we just saw in that first one there, I guess the last game, was if they're not respecting it, it could get you a game, and then they learn from that one and have to protect afterwards. So we're seeing kind of the adjustments here, but Ssumday still died after shoving there, and LirA is just making a great kind of change to his jungle. It's hard to figure this guy out, and people talk about it all the time where you don't know what LirA is going to do because he changes it up constantly and thinks about what you think he's going to do and does sometimes the opposite.
And it's also really nice to see him back in form, because it has been a while.
Yeah.
He had a rough split or two, but it wasn't that long ago that he was, the best jungler in the league. He was voted, I believe it was 2016 spring, I want to say.
I think it was a year ago. In 2017 spring, when he first came over here onto Envy.
Wearing multiple hats. Called him Coach LirA because everybody just kind of listened to what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even really have a traditional coach. They had more of a lifestyle coach with Violet, I believe it was, and he was teaching them a lot of the game. And people kind of criticized him somewhat for not being a tank player, but now he's looking incredibly good on tanks, right? It took him some time to actually adapt his playstyle, because in the past, he was the Lee Sin guy, the Nidalee guy, he'd take over games, and he even was pretty vocal at the start of the split saying, yeah, I have to change my playstyle, it's very new. He's undefeated on Skarner, he's looking incredible on Olaf, and And this is a guy who has adapted and shaped himself to the new meta, and as a result, has his team one game from the finals.
Yeah, he was always about counter jungling, getting a large advantage there, but now everybody plays these farm junglers where it's like pretty trivial to farm your jungle, gets him out on the map, and so he's learned to be very aggressive, kind of readopt the Elise playstyle of diving early on underneath turrets alongside his team and then finding plays later. I really think about LirA's Skarner plays back when he was taking cleanse in fights, starting off on the right foot.
Here he is on bot side. They have Morgana ulti.
Cavalry. Oh, I didn't activate it.
Gonna push out.
Just walks in.
Very anticlimactic.
That's my kind of gank. Run up, get some CS.
Run in, smite the cannon. Don't worry, guys, I'm here.
Helping him. I'm helping you shove.
Making space.
See, look at it. They're taking
mean,
damage.
There we go.
Apollo took a few
Cody
hits
Sun's
there
still
to
gonna
kind
get
of
hit.
draw Cody Sun in. Undertow! Reckless swing, true shot barrage fires through. Few final touches, a shift forward. No, LirA's gonna get that health back as he swings away. Very nicely done. Great gank and good follow.
Flawless gank, like we said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
They saw it coming, and then he walked away, and I guess they didn't see the next one coming. They didn't respect
There's no
him on that
counterplay. You just
side.
came back. You're supposed to leave after you come the first time.
So Apollo took quite a few shots there, and it made him think it looked a little bit better than it was, definitely.
I love this so much because now Solo is protecting the jungle, at least seeing it here. And Meteos took the blast cone, so now Solo
It's coming up.
Few hits, no blast cone there, so it's going to be a long walk out. Ball's on to Solo right now. He could get a lot of damage. Nicely done from bottom lane to top lane. How did LirA move that
LirA
fast?
ran all the way across the map, and he says, thanks for the leash, takes the kill and the red buff back. I mean, that is he's a globetrotter at this point, just running everywhere.
Yeah, so what happened was, hold on, okay, he's gonna get away, is LirA backed, and when you're on the bottom side, the standard counter jungle is to go to the enemy top side and punish him, but Solo covers that because the Sion backs. But right here, Hakuho, the flash ulti, still catches Cody Sun. The range afterwards, he doesn't flash immediately, the tether will connect, and the slow makes it so that he doesn't cover those extra units.
And the fact that Meteos actually did his full Wolves camp first before going to the red meant they had time to get up there because he was on his side of the jungle. He clears first, then he goes over, and just enough time and really good team play from Clutch covering each other on both sides of the map.
Gotta say, it's an awful play from Meteos, though, because Sion was back, Ssumday was back, didn't have TP, and Solo walks in, Ward sees it, can prepare, it's basically get all of his ducks in a line there to go, hey, let's hit the blast cone, let's get ready, everybody ready for this? Febiven collapse, and then he just gets taken out. Now we're looking at Clutch Gaming, 3-0 in kills right now, pressure in a lot of these lanes, up against 100 Thieves.
Those some disorderly ducks. You can't make that play without your ducks in a row.
Wow, guys. See what Clutch Gaming can do from here on out. Looking so loose, if you will, in their play, and it's kind of the same thing that happened versus TSM. They did win that first game, and the confidence in just them saying, when we won that game, we knew we could win the rest. We just had to play our game. Means they don't feel like they have to pressure anything too much. They're not in their own heads to go, oh, we need to get that last play. They're okay with small advantages, and it's just escalating for them into these advantages.
And I gotta say, LirA's clever pathing in both the TSM series and in this one is what really gives Clutch an edge over other junglers and gives them edges in their lanes.
Another big point of contention here, though, is going to be this second Infernal. We talked about it in the previous time it came up in this series. 2 Infernals is such a big edge. Meteos is down here on the bottom side. They want to try to get a kill on the bottom lane, then snowball that into a dragon.
And you can see LirA actually going for a back here.
Seems like pretty risky timing. I mean,
1,300 gold, so
it's tough because you want to be as strong as possible for this fight. I mean, Febiven just got his base off and completed his full first item. TP is available from Solo, almost available from Ssumday, but he's kind of inching his way down. And this is something where Clutch really want to even it out and take this Infernal back. But if you lose a team fight and you give up a second Infernal, then you've lost control of the game.
Yeah, this is where 100 Thieves really have to approach this fight correctly. They don't have flashes on their bottom lane. Cody Sun is a huge part of this team composition, and then they are down in gold in the first place. So they're chunking out Apollo and dealing some damage to this turret to try and dissuade a Dragon contest in the near future, but might be rough.
Yeah, I actually really like this. Solo is roaming down right now. Ssumday went back to base, so he's going to, at the very least, force his opponent's teleport if he wants to match, and we'll see. If Clutch is willing to commit to this play, I think you should just go for it.
We bannered the mid.
Oh, that's hilarious. He's actually just going to banner that to create pressure, and they could perhaps use that to now start the dragon because Ryu is going to have to answer that, and it'll take him quite some time, but still not committing to it. So
yeah, they bannered both sides, so now Solo has to say, dang, I got to go back up side. They got a banner up top. We got a banner in the mid lane as both of them complete that item at just about the same time. Febiven's going to go ahead and grab up this blue. Top turret didn't even take that much. Might be down to half by the time they get that out of there.
Yeah, minion still does a lot of damage.
Soon.
It's not fair and dub.
TM.
But he gets it, knocks it down. And the Infernal Drake still on the table. Junglers still have not backed and purchased. 1,000 gold for Meteos, 1,600 for LirA. And you want to be very strong here, but remember the bottom lane doesn't have flashes here. Aphromoo's just came up.
And the longer that Clutch waits, I mean, their turret in the bottom lane is getting whittled down. You don't want to just give up that turret in the straight up 2v2. It's getting really, really low here. So they would like to make a play, try to get a kill, try to stop something, and get that Infernal, but they're having trouble really finding the opening, and LirA just goes back to base, so he's going to spend up his gold.
Yeah, I think LirA was spotted on the bottom side going towards that brush, so the bottom lane will play a little safe. Meteos was hovering, but now he actually gets to back, purchase, and if they go for a Drake, Meteos hasn't backed because he's still hovering, a little paranoid that LirA might be here still.
I've actually got to say, I'm a little bit surprised to see Iceborne as the choice for Apollo instead of Triforce, because there's not a tremendous amount of physical damage really on this other team. It mostly is just that Caitlyn as kind of that physical damage threat. Yes, Trundle could get up on you, but it's probably unlikely that he's going to be dealing consistent damage. And I do think that Triforce really helps you to have that extra DPS to punch through 4-man front line, which is kind of the reality he's going to be facing. But at the same time, you can argue the kiting that can come out there. So it is some give and take, but I'm always more on the side of, hey, you need to do enough damage to actually pressure these guys, and Ezreal's already very low on tank.
Yeah, but like the only way that the Sion will reach you or the Trundle will reach you is by running at your face most of the time. So indexing for that, I think more likely. Oh my, your April Fool is me, Azael 3 times.
So good. We got to put like a button over your cough.
He's been trying to like cover my cough button so he doesn't do it, but it's happened so much. But anyway, during that, Infernal Drake does go over to Clutch Gaming, so we're even there.
That's their next move, however. LirA towards the top side of the map is bottoms clear, so they may make the look of play onto Ssumday in some extended period. A little bit of speed assistance possibly for LirA. No, just a shield. Here you go, buddy. Good guy, Febiven and Braum. Nothing crazy happening around the map. TPs are up for both of the top side. As bot gets dropped, we'll see where 100 Thieves can start to distribute this extra pressure of Cody Sun and Aphromoo.
Yeah, honestly, a really good job on the bottom side of the map here from 100 Thieves. Cody Sun and Aphromoo able to knock down that turret in the straight up 2v2. They're trying to rotate top and create pressure up there, but I mean, they're the ones with the range support. They're the ones who, generally speaking, you look at that and you say, okay, you're supposed to be dictating the pace of this lane. But the Braum and Caitlyn come out ahead.
Oh, wow. Shockwave there from Febiven actually gets the heal out of Cody Sun, hitting 2 there. They're all trying to rotate to the top side. Hakuho zoning as this Rift Herald very low. He'll have the eye open one more time. You got to hit the eye and smite, but... Oh.
TP. Solo's in. Ssumday shouts. Puts himself into Solo. They got to be careful. LirA's trying to get her on the outside, but he's facing Meteos as Ryu's up and down. They want to flash forward to get the taunt on, but it does not lock down the Ragnarok. Olaf. LirA is trying to get himself out right now as Solo. Call the Forge God will slow down the fight, but Clutch Gaming loses ground for the first time here in Game 5.
They do get the Rift Herald, though, and they are going to all get out, so it just comes down to, can 100 Thieves continue this push and actually get something else off of it?
Yeah, potentially get this turret here, because all 5 of them are up here. Rift Herald was picked up as well, so LirA has that, but the bottom side, we do, actually mid lane, we have Ssumday here just knocking down this turret too. So the map advantage going to 100 Thieves, despite Clutch being the ones who had started that.
Quick hits. Where do they go here now? Solo or Ssumday's going to just stay. He says, yeah, you're going to back. Febiven will clear mid. And it does look like they'll actually take a breather.
I'm going to be really interested to see what Clutch can actually get with that Rift Herald buff, because when you look back to last game, they had a massive power play. Got a couple of kills, knocked down both the mid lane turrets, and that really was the biggest swing in that last game. But so far, 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they are down on kills, they are the ones who have been really kind of eking out these little edges, these little advantages with Cody Sun and Aphromoo constantly pushing up, constantly pressuring these turrets, and they're going to be pretty comfortable just continue to do this. Unless Clutch actually pulls the trigger and makes a play to start something off, they'll just continue pushing nonstop in the 2v2.
And they don't have that same type of go button that's up to them and very available all the time like they did with the Rakan. For Hakuho, it's landing a binding, flash ultimate, so it's flash dependent here without Summoner Spellbook. And that's really the kind of key for them to go. So they have to have other people like LirA and Solo key off of that.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see if they are going to move those pieces around. Are you going to make that 4-man play? Are you going to try to do that? Because that is pretty difficult into a Galio as well. And Ryu certainly can roam to match and turn around some of those plays pretty heavily if the Galio can come in. So it's always a give and take there, but you don't want to be bleeding turrets. You don't want to be kind of losing these objectives solely over time. Or you can end up in that situation where, similarly to the Cho'Gath earlier, where he's just chipping away, getting more and more gold for the team. And it's not just about the advantages he's establishing for himself, it's about the global gold and the edges he's gaining for the rest of people around the map.
Slow clears around. Nobody actually getting too big of a lead in the CS department. You see the bot lane in favor of Cody Sun, but we have not seen him tack on that damage just yet. The fight we had was Clutch Gaming kind of focused on Herald. They back off, and now they're kind of sorting out what's the next fight. We've actually seen both teams in these games just go head-to-head, and that may be what's happening.
Now they're using Rift Herald mid, and that turret is still incredibly low. So this Rift Herald will take that down and get them one back here.
Huzzah!
Clutch Gaming up 1,000 gold, but this entire series has been so close every single game. It's actually a ridiculous best of 5 where you just think about the #1 versus 6 team and how all these games have come down to a Baron on the setup to it in a fight.
Well, and the craziest part is how Clutch had basically one win against the remaining teams in playoffs going into the semifinals, and it was against Echo Fox. They had one win against Echo Fox, no wins against TL, no wins against 100 Thieves. They're supposed to get smashed, and it's game 5, incredibly close. They are in the advantage right now, and it's gonna again come down to playmaking, come down to team fighting, come down to that play around the Baron. Because both these teams are playing very patiently, are playing a very measured game, and it's been that way the whole day.
And it feels like both of their strengths, so they're both comfortable playing to it. The baits around Baron for Clutch, the Baron attempts for 100 Thieves in the setup, and playing around Cody. And Cody's the guy that I am looking at here for 100 Thieves because he has to be able to deal the damage, and that means that Ryu, Ssumday, and Meteos and Aphromoo all have to set him up. But I'm really watching Cody here because you know that Clutch are watching him in particular, saying that's the guy we have to look at in these team fights.
Exactly, and if you make that one mistake, even if you are fully enabled with 4 men in front of you, you make that one mistake, you get caught by that Febiven shockwave, that can be the end of the game. So a lot of pressure on this young player's shoulders here. And he's on a team of veterans, but they have that trust in him. They know that he is able to kind of step up to the plate and make the plays in these late games especially. That is really where he has shined all year long.
And it's funny because we're talking about Cody Sun, this young player, but Solo is pretty much the youngest player out of all 4 of the remaining playoff teams, counting Echo Fox as a top 4 there, where Solo, he has the least experience as well, right? He came in as basically a rookie.
And that was focused by teams.
Yeah, they focused him down because he didn't really get much help and they played elsewhere, but Solo is truly very close to being a rookie in terms of he only played a few games as a sub ahead of time for Echo Fox, and then he played this split. This is his first full split on a team, and he has been performing incredibly well in playoffs up against people like Hansser and Ssumday, holding his own, and honestly not really costing Clutch much of anything. The matchups of the Cho'Gath were an issue and they banned those out, but now you see he provides pressure and LirA can now play to him.
Go figure. Solo, great team player. April Fools.
And I mean, even in those disadvantageous matchups, he's really good in team fights. And that's one of the things that has been very impactful about his play and has been something that I've always been pretty impressed by is they put him in all of these positions. They often do not give him help. They give him losing matchups, and he loses gracefully. He gives up the minimum. That is something that is a very undervalued skill in League of Legends in general, not just in professional play, is that the game does not always have to be about you. And it's kind of funny to say, but that's something that Solo really embodies. I mean, they focus more on Febiven, they focus more on Apollo, and really snowballing and carrying through those lanes. But if you do that and your top laner just gets blasted every game, well, it doesn't matter if you got advantages elsewhere because now you're still behind.
And it feels good to be able to work in this window you don't ever really think about, where you have actually capitalized and gotten a lot better on your play, but nobody's recognized or given you that respect to catch up, and you have this period of time where you can actually make those plays happen. And we actually had a lot of the teams in playoffs say, Clutch is probably one of the weakest teams in playoffs. So that was almost expected from a lot of the teams they would face, and we're seeing a completely different Clutch now.
I think it was Doublelift who said Clutch is the weakest team in playoffs.
Right.
Just a week ago. And he may potentially be playing them in the
Reconsider
finals.
that statement.
He also said there was 5 good teams at Echo Fox.
Yeah, he changes his mind a lot.
Very true. So far, a good bit of map opened up on this one. We're only 23 minutes in, so we're going to get a lot of back and forth here through the jungle. Not much vision, rather, is placed to keep those movements safe. So things get a little crazy here. This is what it creates. Not enough vision on the map, and just right under their noses, coming through a little late. They are still going to have to respect it.
But
100 Thieves wants to check.
I do really like the attempt there from Clutch, right? Started up, they're not committing to it. It's a 3-man Baron. If it gets spotted out, great, back off. If it doesn't, hey, maybe you just snuck a series win right under their noses. So I do think those are smart attempts, and so far the game just staying very, very stable, and it may be a play just like that that really does decide it, because it's going to be someone making a big play. There's going to be a hero in this game, because when you get to the later stages, it's about those team fights and it's about the initiations. Who can really pull it off? Which AD carry can stay safe and take over?
That is the question. Those are the ones I'm watching. Not so much on Ryu this time. Febiven, Apollo, those squishies. We'll see Ryu going in, and Cody Sun on the other side as these fights come to fruition here. A lot of things are going to be crossing their paths. Ssumday and Solo going to be taking out these fights. You see Clutch Gaming just saying, stop the backs, give us a little more breathing room on the map as they set up to get 25 minutes in. A Mountain Drake next as well.
Ooh, yeah, they could even up the Drakes 2 apiece, but double Mountain Drake just means that Baron for 100 Thieves would be so easy to do. Despite their composition looking like it's pretty much just Cody Sun for damage, when you have the time to just stand there and wail on something as a Trundle, you deal a decent amount, especially when you have those double Mountain Drakes. So that's something that you have to watch out for here as Clutch Gaming. But they do have a lead right now, but it's very, very small, 2,000 gold. And a lot of it's on the jungle and the support.
Dematerializers, never, ever going to get that right the first time. On the top side of the map, really slowing down Solo's banner. Other way working in favor here of Ssumday, but they were able to get Clutch Gaming to the top side and get that turret down.
I just find it really funny too, because Ssumday is using them pretty much only when there's a Baron buffed up minion that's actually going to have like damage behind it of like a full wave or even Solo there. He's used only 2 in this entire game, and we're 25 minutes in, almost 26. So he's very kind of stingy with them, making sure it's only the situation where he absolutely has to use them, because he wants to save them for the potential Baron later.
Right, we went from game 1 and having about 4 overall in the game, maybe 5, to just that 1.
Fight on top side.
Sorted out.
Febiven, Shockwave, Ryu.
Ryu Solo, he gets taken down. Clockwork wind up in another move of the ball, is able to take him down. 100 Thieves losing ground. A half health Meteos takes a heal and gets himself to safety with that subjugate.
And they should just go straight to Baron. I mean, you got the ultimate out of Meteos. Ryu is down. You can start this and turn with the Ornn ultimate potentially to look for a fight. Sion is TPing in, and this could be a game decider.
Shockwave is down. That's what they want when they funnel in.
So low.
Bullet hit. They flash over it, but he's going to be able to pop a few up here. Watching Solo on the backside. Hakuho and the rest of the team move their skills in. A hit from Solo as he breathes the fire all over 100 Thieves. They run for the hills, and Clutch Gaming has position on Baron.
Both frontliners there were really pushing back the backline damage. I mean, Solo had an incredible ultimate, knocking out multiple people, following that with a charge that knocked up even more people.
Here it is again.
But at the same time, Sion is zoning them all out. So here is that 1v1 play. Febiven onto Ryu, catches him with that shockwave, and straight up just goes for the chase down. Ryu failing his flash over the wall. Very critical mistake.
Yeah, E'd and then came back for the ward anyway. And yeah, the flash over the wall, big. With Febiven here, he doesn't have shockwave, so it's not a big team fight ultimate from him. But then he walks to the right, and then when he goes back to the left, he actually steps on a trap, preventing him from dealing more damage.
But watch Solo now. So Ssumday's zoning everyone out. Solo on the other side, knocks them up, charges into the wall, knocks more members up again, but the follow-up is not there, as they're both being kind of zoned out by the frontliners, and both teams end up surviving it. Comes down to only 1 kill, but the TP advantage is on the side of Clutch, so they could look to repeat and try to force another play here.
That's what they're best at, both of these teams, is just lighting the fuse immediately. Once again, LirA just over the wall to get full vision of what's on the other side.
Look where Solo is. Solo is from the side here. He is potentially looking for a flank, but is going to go back.
Binding landed.
Quick charge, quick hit, getting that percent
That's a
health
shield
damage
down,
on the
he
Brittle. Is he going down? Is he going up? No, straight at the team down the line. And let's see if they keep going down the tracks again.
Back to Baron.
Clutch Gaming happy with slight advantages in HP, but Meteos can get quite healthy here as he just takes down minions around him. Over to the Mountain Drake. They're trying to prevent this. The second 1 to 100 Thieves, so it's imperative Clutch either wins the fight and gets out, or at least stops 100 Thieves from getting this Drake.
100 Thieves have no flashes, though, so it's hard to really get into the middle of this fight unless they want to ult in Ssumday, and Meteos gets
Huge
caught!
hit, that's one down. Smites are gone. They can easily get the dragon now. They've prevented exactly what they want, and now they can put the next thing on their plate. Clutch Gaming doing well, 5-0.
And they are sending solo down to the bottom lane, but I think they should go to Baron again, continue to try to force this, because there's no
30
flashes on
seconds.
100 Thieves, there's no jungler available, and TP is up on solo.
Exactly, there's no smite available, and Clutch, they could very well try to do it, but it looks like they're just going to say no, play it safe, and that's been that reserve style from them where they just don't take those risks.
Yep.
And sometimes there is such a thing as playing too safe, right? And I do think that this is one of those cases where you have to wonder, should you have not at least tried? I'm not saying you have to fully commit, but you are relatively healthy. You're out on the map. There's no jungler. There's not a flash to be seen on the other team.
Yeah.
That is a Baron I think you can, at the very least, start and look to turn and see if you can get a fight.
It's something that 100 Thieves would have to go all in on. It'd be
Yeah.
Ssumday and Ryu in that fight. It's not a, we can try to guess this or yo-yo it back and forth, so it would have been very interesting.
And the more you don't go for those types of plays that could win you the game, the more chances 100 Thieves have to make them themselves and win the game. So 100 Thieves, right, this will be the moment that if Clutch Gaming don't win this, 100 Thieves look back and go, thankfully they didn't do that. And Clutch have to go, why didn't we make that play? But you're playing safe, but it might be too much, like you said, Azael.
Yeah, it may just be too much. I mean, it's one of those things where Cody Sun is getting stronger and stronger, scaling up on this Caitlyn. You have a Trundle who is going to be a beast at kind of shredding through this Ornn in the later game fights, and you always have to be worried about that. But at the same time, I definitely do give the advantage to a late game Orianna versus that of a Galio.
Oh yeah, and you see Meteos almost has his Knight's Vow here to protect Cody Sun. And Febiven has kind of been the decider here in this later part of the game. Early it was LirA with the top lane gank, but now it's Febiven. The solo kill onto Ryu, and then the shockwave there as well. He does so much damage catching people out.
And he's on 4 items. I mean, this Orianna is massive. He has his Death Cap, he has his full completed Seraphs, he has his Void Staff there, 3 items, excuse me, plus boots, and it is looking to be at such a strong point of the game where when you have the spell penetration plus the Death Cap, you hit that one critical shockwave on either the mid laner or even Cody Sun here. Neither of those guys have any MR. They can get completely deleted.
Yeah, I've been loving what he's doing with the build too, because we saw that Ryu would go for more of the Death Cap second, but Febiven, he goes for the Void Staff second because he's against all these tanks and he just wants to be able to be relevant throughout the entire point of the game instead of have this power trough in the middle.
And it's also really nice because then it makes it so you can have more options as far as the targets, right? If you skip the magic penetration, then you basically only can hit those squishies. Whereas even if he hits a shockwave on, a Trundle and a Braum or whatever, it can still have a really big impact.
And I love that he also went for the spell penetration boots here, because so many mid laners now just go Merc Treads, especially against somebody like Galio. Woo. Hold on, Apollo. Gonna get healed up here by the Redemption. He's gonna be okay, but that turret does go down.
Love the Redemption purchase within these fights. Tanks mean long fights, and being able to heal yourself back up for the entire team is huge. A nice undertow through 2 members. Pillar goes up, but how much is it going to get LirA to stick in place? A few tags of damage does not connect the concussive blows, and they get themselves out.
Yeah, and they were hoping to kind of force LirA into using his ultimate there, but they're not able to scare it out of him, and the waves in the side lanes are starting to push here for 100 Thieves, but Clutch has the inside track on Baron.
Yeah. But 100 Thieves have inside track to mid and potentially that bottom lane that's already incredibly low on the tier 2.
Oh, solo. Taking a bit of extra damage to start this one off. Command Protect from Febiven. You can see the size of that shield.
The minion isn't paying attention to the turret. He's hitting other minions. Don't do it.
Gotta turn around. Oh. He goes down the fight in mid, so kind of waiting for that to happen. The turret should fall in just a moment. Does that activate the fight? It should not. No. They're still playing calm in mindset here as they're in the mid lane, just jockeying for position, letting the minions do the work.
But the fact that these are waves that are picked up by 100 Thieves earlier and then they slow push and just wasted gold on Clutch's side, we're looking at a 1.2k gold difference.
It's almost nothing at this point. 33 minutes into the game, it's all really down to how you play the fights, how you pilot your characters, and so much comes down to who can really start off the fight really well. Can Ornn find that perfect ultimate that is not going to get blocked by Braum? Or can we see Ryu comboing up with Ssumday perhaps and finding that dive to the back line?
And that's what I've been loving so far from the play from Solo is he's actually waiting and the team is baiting out or at least forcing enough damage that Aphromoo puts up his shield. It happened in the last fight where they focused him down, tried to bait it out. Then they went for the Ornn ultimate afterwards. He's not doing it to have it just get absorbed by the Braum. He's waiting until the Braum has no way to block it.
One thing that is a little bit of a concern, you have to say, for 100 Thieves is the fact, or sorry, rather for Solo here on Clutch's side, is the fact how much less farm he's actually picking up than Ssumday, because he's been spending so much time grouped, looking for that potential play, looking for that potential engage, where Ssumday has been in the side lanes more, and really, because of that, is that completed item ahead. He has the Stone Plate, which is a difference maker, and it's 100 Thieves that are starting the Baron here, spotted out now.
Great to have the ball in there. They will be able to keep vision without having to play a ward war game, but now they try to get the upper hand and go goal side mid. Looks like they'll leave it in the river for now, as nobody really is playing that. Nobody wants to lose game, and they're all playing very cautious here. Good hits onto LirA, shields there. He should just heal back up nice and quick before even getting back into the fight. Side Ryu and the top lane. Ssumday comes in. Febiven, popped up, knocked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the floor.
That's the first kill of the game for 100 Thieves, and they get it onto Febiven, and they get both his summoners. This opens up an opportunity for them to crack the game wide open.
Yeah, Apollo just shifted in there, and the whole team comes in to support, but they're now getting potentially flanked. We'll see if they can pull off a fight.
Glacial Fissure just missing on Solo as the Black Shield was on. They are being deterred from the Baron. LirA makes it the 50-50, and they're doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Cody Sun is low.
Cody Sun low, just dodging out of the binding with the 90 caliber net. Solo's in their eyes, but what target do they want? They subjugate onto Solo, and it looks like they're going to be going on to Hakuho. Now a little bit more shots onto the Ragnarok. Olaf, call the Forge God, knocked through, but it's only going to hit Aphromoo on the backside. One more hit, concussive blows. Oh, Meteos tries to get the bite, but it's just too short with the double flash from both players.
They're actually buying so much time, though. Febiven is almost respawning here. Despite the fact they lost another kill, Febiven is now up on the map. He's running over here. 100 Thieves are going to burn this down very quickly. We'll see if Clutch can delay for Febiven to arrive.
LirA down to half. Ragnarok not even halfway cooled down. Solo is trying to use all of his HP to say, we're giving time for Febiven. Is it enough time? Shockwave is up. The pile is in. Apollo shifts down. The entrance coming in as Ryu tries to reposition himself to defense on the fight. And the Shockwave will not come through as they have to respect the damage from Febiven.
I cannot believe that Clutch hung on there, fighting off that bear for so long. While Febiven was respawning, he just barely gets back to hang on in that fight. They do lose a couple kills, but they do not lose the Baron, and that is the critical thing.
Exactly. There's 3 kills that go over to 100 Thieves. Their first 3 kills of the game, but the gold is just dead even now. Exactly.
Insane.
What a tense fight there, honestly. So close. The slimmest of margins on both sides.
Here it is again.
Yeah, this is Ssumday ulting out of the bush with Ryu following up. He hits Febiven, Ryu W's. Even though the cleanse comes out, he catches Febiven even after the flash with the backwards E.
And that's honestly the intensity of those late game fights. You would have had the flash immediately to avoid that original ult. But here it is, Clutch kiting back and forth, trying to get damage in. Look at Apollo putting a lot of pressure onto Cody Sun there, which was a really big deal. And you see the Clutch is never overcommitting to the engage. They're moving forward and saving all of their escape abilities to then retreat, to try to give up the minimum. So they lose a Morgana kill, but they have the ultimate to get out. They have enough poke from Apollo, and that Ezreal really was the hero in buying time.
Yeah, and man, during that time, Ssumday ulti 3 times. It is a 36-second cooldown ultimate on his Unstoppable Onslaught. It's actually ridiculous. He caught Febiven, caught Hakuho, and then his last one, he almost got another kill for his team.
Choo-choo. Absolutely crazy. Got trains coming down the track from Solo. Ssumday trying to turn into a train himself and make things happen. Everybody doing what they can to throw themselves into a fight. Hakuho down to about 70% HP from one wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
I mean, Cody Sun is putting out a lot of damage at this point. When you got a rapid fire crit this late in the game on a squishy, it's almost all their health. And Banner doing work again up in the top side, getting that farm for Ssumday, picking up a lot of extra gold with that. And they're looking for a fight here. Solo, gotta back off.
2 hits, doesn't get locked up. Apollo staying steady so he doesn't get hit up by the roar. The Slayer from Ssumday, and it looks like they set up once again in mid. What a low kill game for the amount of action we have seen.
Yeah, but there's that wave top lane now that needs to be caught. It's about to hit the turret, and that's just wasted gold again here. You can see 100 Thieves slowly but surely just start getting a lead from an even point based off of their catching waves and Clutch aren't. I was looking at the banner of commands. Solos has done 1,600 damage, now 2,200 damage to turrets, but then Ssumday's has done
Solos got out.
They still have the shield there from Hakuho. It's going to give him a little bit of distance, but the follow-up damage is too much. The front end, the middle, and the back end is enough to take down Solo. Just about over a minute on these death timers.
Yeah, Apollo wasn't with the team, so they couldn't get back up there to fight, but they have 4 members. They need to try to delay once more, and they now see that the Baron has not been started, so they can back off. They know 100 Thieves is baiting, and that's going to force 100 Thieves' hand to start this Baron.
Good defense. Meteos ready to put that pillar up and stop anybody coming in. LirA could deny the slows with Ragnarok if he wants to get close, but that's going for broke. That's possibly the game if they lose too much ground here. 2,800 HP. The smites coming up to about 1,000 damage in the game are very close to. Hakuho gets the Zhonya's down. They've deterred them now from the Baron. They take down Hakuho along with his flash, and 100 Thieves turn to the Baron.
Solo's up in 8 though, and he has TP, so they may have possibly delayed long enough again. We'll see if they can hold on.
Got a ward in the pit.
He's up in 2 seconds. He can TP back into this if they want to try a 4v5, but that would be very risky.
They're going to respect it. He's actually teleporting down so he doesn't get stopped on the home guard right away. It might make more of an impact on his way into the fight, but he just presents himself in the front.
Here comes Ryu.
Ryu could be right there. They don't have the wards. He flashes in. Febiven can hit a beautiful shockwave on the back line. Ryu trying to make his way in. The damage for CG just may not be enough, but is it a turnaround? Solo do what he can. Apollo flashes forward. Febiven, it is up to the Orianna, and it looks like he will pull through another shockwave to turn the fight in Clutch Gaming's favor.
It's an absolute bloodbath. This game could not be closer. Game 5 of the semifinals. Both teams refuse to go down.
Let's see that one more time, because this is a flank that looks like it's going to decide the game. It is a 4v5, but Febiven's ultimate pulls off the impossible here. He chunks them down, and then with Aphromoo dead, you can call in the Ram, and it hits Cody.
The Ornn ulti over, and then follow here. Jumps in over the wall, gets the final shot onto Cody Sun, gives up his life for it, but it allows Febiven to clean up the end of this fight and allows Clutch again to hold on against all odds at the Baron.
Absolutely insane impact plays from this man in the mid lane on Clutch Gaming. It does take a team, but the spot-on ultimates from Febiven have turned these games around time and time again.
Febiven came over to North America from the EU LCS, and then immediately there was almost no conversation about how great of a player he was. He had solo killed Faker. He'd been a top 4 finisher at Worlds, and even just the split before he got here, he was the all-pro EU LCS mid laner.
Yep.
He's showing now that you still have to take this guy seriously. He's almost 100 CS up in this mid lane. His Orianna ultimates and his impact cannot be overstated. He has been critical in this game.
This game getting pushed to the limits. You guys talk about how fast these ultimates are coming back up, and we're seeing multiples in these fights. It's a window that players are not used to as well, so you're misconsidering quite a few things as you go in.
Both AD carries now hit 6 items. Bloodthirster purchased up there for Apollo. Cody Sun already on 6 items himself. We could see those optimizations done. Boots perhaps traded out later on, but these guys are fully online. Febiven is massive here as well, adding in the Leandries to his already huge roster of items, and they're heading again back over to the Baron pit.
Yeah, for Apollo, I think this is a little greedy though, because it means he has no QSS. Mercurial will have a decent amount of lifesteal on it, but it just means he doesn't want to get burst by the Caitlyn like he did earlier.
And that banner is pushing heavily in the bottom side, so if Clutch can keep them up here, that will get some work done.
Apollo keeps himself safe over the wall. Double buff for the Ezreal to keep himself going. We're looking at max items for your AD carries right now as they try to put out the most DPS in these fights with the protection of basically everyone around them. And the thing is, Cody has a bit. Apollo trying to give that self.
Ooh. This wave on the bottom side is massive. Look at this. Multiple cannons, a banner cannon. They're fighting in mid lane.
Solo calling the ult in. He's actually going to hit the Forge God back. Solo could go down. He tries to flash himself out. A little more distance there. The follow from Ssumday, but the chase. The chase is quite a lot.
Shields.
And they may be able to turn it around. How much do you want from one guy? Or do you turn the target? Clutch Gaming loses a bit of ground, but it could mean Baron for 100 Thieves.
But Solo has Warmog, so he doesn't have to back here. He's going to get full HP again. LirA, though, not offered that type of luxury. He doesn't have it.
Look at his health go up on the top right of the screen.
LirA has flash, though. He could look for a steal. This is risky. This could decide the game here if they go for it.
Gotta watch the ball. Where does Febiven put the ball?
2,800 HP on the Baron. They've turned off it now. It's just doing damage to Ssumday.
The minions in the bottom lane are so big now. Clutch just needs to buy time for this wave to crack this inhibitor, and they're trying to send them back to base. Massive wave pushing on the top side again. Clutch can be the ones to start up the Baron here, and looks like they're heading for it.
Slowly but surely, they want to clear the vision and say, do you think we're doing it? Can we catch you on the potential? Maybe.
They started now.
They have Ssumday on the bot side. Teleport is up. They have a ward just to the left. He clears as many as he can, and he gets himself immediately back into the river. Solo gets hit up, but they've played this game before. They've danced this dance. He can take quite a bit of damage, and the team can turn it around, but LirA is the one that has to be careful. 100 Thieves sees a fight they can win, but Clutch will not let them through the door.
I gotta say, seeing Apollo shift around these fights, sometimes shift aggressively, is refreshing, because this is the guy that we always said, if the game is in his hands, he never makes the game-winning play. He never has the courage to do so. Backline, Varus, poke, that type of player, but now we're seeing him be more aggressive when they need him most.
I mean, Clutch just forced out the TP from Ssumday from the bottom lane. Ryu just TP'd to his tier 2 turret to try to rush this down. If they can stop this, if Clutch can stop this Baron, Ryu will have no global at all. And remember, LirA does have his flash, so yeah, both globals down. I think that was a pretty big mistake, honestly, from Ryu to waste that teleport on a tier 2 turret. Like, it basically went nowhere.
Yeah, it's a desperation play here from 100 Thieves. They think they see an opening. Remember, Clutch got that first game win against 100 Thieves here because they rushed a Baron, because 100 Thieves had the Rise ultimate in, and their intentions were red. So Clutch are saying they know how to play around Baron, and they understand how 100 Thieves want to as well.
And the question becomes, can Clutch actually now establish control in the side lanes, get an advantage because those globals are down? And we also have to remember, as this game goes longer and longer, Clutch has access to essentially another item and a half type thing, or another half item with the Ornn upgrades. You can get that 6.5 items, and you can keep building further and further past that, which is always going to be an edge.
Clean up.
It's actually really good, because normally you can't...
stomach ache. Right, it triggers slowly on the next
one. Well, normally you step in one trap, and you can't actually step in another. There's a lockout, right? Even if you aren't stunned or anything, you just walk to the next one.
LirA is taking quite a bit of damage here in this late game. There's also that Cloud Drake still hanging out, but right now they're like, Baron's enough to fight over, and nobody wants to give up the top side of the map.
LirA has identified, though, that Warmogs is exactly what he needs here. So he takes all that. Now he's just full HP again. Because if it comes down to a Baron dance and it's all about that poke and who gets chunked out and they have to back, you don't want to be the guy or the tank that happens to. So we have 3 Warmogs so far in this game.
I really want to see Solo get out to the side lane, though, and get these waves pushing again, because he's had this TP advantage for all this time, and the waves are building and building and building. And if you leave that too long, it opens up such opportunities for 100 Thieves to get position around the Baron, to get pressure on your base turrets. And 100 Thieves is recognizing this. They are starting the Baron. They have spotted it out, I believe, with that blue orb, but I'm not sure if it was already there.
Man.
No, they don't know.
They don't know.
That blue orb was already there, so it was already denied the vision.
It would be Apollo right now who has to check. He has the blue orb himself.
Oh, God.
It's going down so slow, though.
Yeah, it's 2 people, though, and if you get it this low, you just have people rotate, and then you're able to commit to it.
It's the 1-2.
I think LirA is starting to get a little bit suspicious. They threw it
but they're only
They spotted
sorting.
it with Redemption. Hakuho
Yep.
just spotted it.
Beautifully
They're
done.
gonna shoot it down though. LirA
could
go
go
in.
The smite
He's gotta get
over
in there.
the wall. It's going to be the hit. No, it actually goes to Cody Sun. 100 Thieves are going to be able to grab the Baron. LirA tries to get out. Ragnarok just wearing off. He's got the black shield. Solo knocks back, and Clutch Gaming say, forward for the fight. Ssumday's going to be on the back line now, and 100 Thieves is getting routed by Clutch Gaming.
And this is ridiculous. They end up having this two-man Baron turn into a collapse, and right now you would go Clutch, Elder Dragon, but it's still Cloud 47 minutes into the game.
And it's Cody Sun who actually secures it. Meteos missed the smite there, and LirA just barely not able to get his smite off. Clutch will get the mid lane turret. They'll take the red buff. They'll go to the dragon and likely prompt the spawning finally of that Elder. But 100 Thieves will have their time on the map with the Baron buff, and we'll see what they can get done.
Ornn upgrades for now. We're getting to that point where we need to spend a little extra cash as we see Solo upgrading his Abyssal Mask, and we'll see some other core items around the map start to change around.
Yeah, the boots for the Phantom Dancer here for Cody Sun. Yeah, this gets down to about 1,200 HP, and you never see it drop below that. The headshot comes in at the Baron at the same time as the smite comes down from Meteos.
Yeah, right in. Meteos blast cones over. 1,700, 1,200. There's the smite. Yep. No chance really for LirA. So not sure if that was actually called out in time, the crit with the smite. If it was, credit to 100 Thieves, because that is essentially unstealable there from LirA. But whew, that is a close one. And I mean, if LirA steals that, they won the fight anyway. If they get the Baron too, that can be devastating. So really, really close. And this series, I can't get much closer.
I know. They got the Baron. They're still down in gold. They need to crack an inhibitor with this and push their advantage here. We see Ssumday has used his banner.
Playing it smart, saying the second turret's too hard to defend. They'll leave it to the base defense.
Apollo even swapping out his Iceborne for a Triforce and Ornn upgrading it. So that is, his 6.5 items essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have anything to Ornn upgrade unless he gets the Trinity Force, because the Iceborne isn't one you upgrade, none of the other items for Ezreal. So yeah, he's forced to swap there.
Look at this, they're just tanking for the cannon. Aphromoo pops up the shield, somebody who's in front. They're looking for the engage, Ornn ulti!
Or hit, they're gonna get in. True Shot Barrage does pass through the team, but not doing too much damage to the tanks in the front line. LirA getting skipped up just on the edge of the knockup from Ssumday. Ragnarok is on, but they're not gonna be able to use it to get back in the fight as they sort it out. Nobody goes down, you only lose a little bit of health.
A big wave on the top side, though, for Clutch, and it comes down so much to the map control, to the minion waves in the side lanes, and all these tanks have bought up their Warmogs, so Ssumday regenning back up, they will continue the push.
I absolutely love that, though, from the side of Clutch. Solo saw that he was blocking for it. No shield available, the Ornn ulti comes through, and he's just waiting for it to come back off of cooldown here, about 30 more seconds.
Turret should go down as they can't really get to that pile of people with the minions behind it. 10 to 8, 50 minutes just crested as the base finally gets cracked open in favor of 100 Thieves. Clutch Gaming looking for a window to still fight. They always have been.
And Clutch is so dependent upon their ultimates to fight. If you don't have Shockwave, if you don't have Ornn ulti and Ragnarok, you cannot really fight. When you have a Caitlyn, you're much less dependent upon those ultimates. It's all based on the auto attack type style. So as long as they're blocking for Cody Sun, 100 Thieves can continually fight. Where Clutch, as soon as that first fight broke down, they can't fully engage. They need to wait.
Yeah, and that Ornn ultimate, it's a much longer cooldown now since the nerfs to him. Ssumday has that 36-second ultimate on Unstoppable Onslaught, and then it's a 70-second cooldown for Solo. So twice as long there when he gets to pick his fights. And he still has to even worry about Aphromoo's shield because of the Braum pickup, but we're back to an even game here.
Oh, it's pretty crazy. Febiven now completes his 6 items. This Orianna cannot get any stronger. I mean, it's hard to overstate the importance of this late game Orianna. We know the death cap is in there. That can be upgraded. But, I mean, if this guy hits the right shockwave, it can be lights out. If you miss it, likewise, but for the other team, right? And there's so much pressure because of that. When you have this one ability that everyone is watching, when you have this one ability that your team is counting on, and their whole team is trying to track and avoid, that decides games.
A little harder.
And this is one of the longest games that I have seen on patch 8.5 in particular, because normally it's Elder Dragon and then second Elder Dragon. You're like, okay, 35 minutes, 8 minutes later comes up. first Elder Dragon hasn't even spawned yet.
It's still the Wind Dragon.
Like, this game could potentially keep going without those kind of rush the game down mechanics being a part of it with the Elder Dragon because of that.
They're conservationists, the last of his kind. They're not willing to kill him off.
It's funny, though, because, like, so much has revolved around the Baron that they haven't been around the Cloud Drake. But at the same time, I've always thought about it where it's like, if I'm behind, I don't want to take Cloud Drake because the next one's Elder, and they're going to take it.
And you get
so I don't want to help
fight.
them.
And even if you're even,
it's even.
If you feel like, hey, we are better around the Baron, then taking down that Dragon gives them an option to actually trade. Whereas if it's just the Baron, you're forced into these team fights. But I mean, this is going to be an explosive last fight, certainly. One thing I've got to say, though, it really hasn't felt like any of the Galio ultimates have been super impactful.
Right.
It always
Reactive.
feels like they're more, exactly, reactive, used more defensively. They haven't found that big engage, but they are pushing into the base. We are 53 minutes in. Death timers are massive at this point.
Cast back to week 3, day 1. This first matchup was 48 minutes between these two teams, so they know they can push each other to the limits here. But 5 games in, completely different story as they still try for this middle inhibitor. 100 Thieves is being stopped at the steps of the base for Clutch Gaming.
That matchup you just mentioned, Riv, that one that went really long, 48 minutes, that was one where Clutch Gaming were up 10,000 gold and they lost to 100 Thieves at the 9th hour there. So that's one where Clutch could be the same position here. The game, they've just been going back and forth this whole time, and it's been such a long one, and they have 100 Thieves on the step of their base right now, and 30 seconds on that Baron.
It's also been really cool to see how Apollo in these later stages using the Ezreal ult to try to get better control of the side lane waves, ulting out, stacking waves, trying to get them pushing in their favor without having to go there himself. So, you know, these little things can be very impactful, but anytime Cody Sun gets a single shot off on Hakuho, it feels like he has to completely back off. I mean, it can be up to half your health.
10 seconds for fun. Baron's about to spawn. It's like we'll get reposition on the map. I mean, inhibitor's down. Maybe they don't leave if they can keep pressuring the inhibitor. Get a simple fight that they want instead of having to take damage from the Baron. It definitely seems like the better option for now if they can keep this poke going. The Warmogs, however, extending this fight. I believe it's been about 5 minutes now. They've kind of just been milling about in the mid lane, doing the love taps.
These shields on Apollo are getting pretty insane. You'll see when he actually gets the Orianna shield and the black shield plus his Bloodthirster shield. You know, he can have 700, 800 worth of extra health there.
Magical wizard.
We now have a second banner in play from Aphromoo here, up on the top side of the map. Starting to knock down that turret. It just died. There they go. There's the Ornn ulti.
Ornn gets 3.
3-man hit. They're looking for Ryu, but Ssumday's going to be on the backside there with Meteos. That's a lot of damage, and it's just Cody Sun absolutely putting the DPS into solo. Shockwave goes off. Everybody's able to flash to a bit of safety. Meteos and Ssumday, the lowest ones, not the worst. Watch him peel up on the left side of the map here. Same thing with solo.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that much, but like you said before, Azael, ultimate dependent team fight from Clutch Gaming, and they've blown 2 of those big ultimates.
Yeah, the Shockwave being down is really the most critical one, so they have to watch that. The Shockwave only caught Meteos. There's still going to be about 30 seconds remaining on that. They're TPing back in, and 100 Thieves may try to heavily force a fight here.
100 Thieves have better position, though, because there's no turret on that middle inhib. They can always go there if they want.
Ssumday takes the damage. He says, give me a few minutes. Let me get Warmogs back in here. And they'll be okay. They are going to take that middle positioning as Ryu comes back. They don't fully engage the fight.
The side lanes are so heavily pushing for opposite teams. Massive wave in the bottom lane for Clutch. Big wave in the top lane here, 400 Thieves. And Apollo didn't have any minions to heal off of because they're dancing around the Baron. So it's 100 Thieves just straight up starting this up. Solo actually went back to base. He's got a TP back right now.
There is blast cone to get over. LirA's trying to squeeze his way in from the bot side. Baron's down to 2,800. They're going to peel off the fight as they see them coming in. Ragnarok's down. They're able to get a few ultimates out here and cost Clutch Gaming some imperative abilities. Solo, Shockwave up, down on the bot side, big damage. That Shockwave hits Aphromoo and Ssumday. Aphromoo shield up, could go down. They get the damage perfectly back on a Solo. Locked up, finally taken down. This could be it. Have they cracked it open enough to get all the way into the base? LirA taking damage. Hakuho trying to throw Dark Bindings from the fog on that right side. They have vision denial, and he's cleansed out as Cody Sun quickly getting himself into position. Bot lane is taking huge damage from minions for Clutch.
They're going to lose an inhibitor. 100 Thieves have got to get back to the base. And
they don't want to delay them. They are stopping the backs. Aphromoo almost for sure to go down here, or at least have an extended back. Inhib broken by Clutch Gaming for their work.
And that's insane, because they had lost their middle inhibitor turret way earlier, and it's just that gigantic push that's set up from earlier.
Yeah, the Ezreal ultimates have been so clutch, clearing out the minion waves. 100 Thieves basically had the same push going, but Apollo shut it down. 100 Thieves, though, back to the Baron again. Minions in the mid lane may knock down that inhibitor now for 100 Thieves, and this game just doesn't stop.
Coming up on 60 minutes, mirrored dragons on both sides of the rift. As either team, game to game, has controlled the objectives. Now we're on the final one. It's going down. Febiven steals it with a command move dissonance. Are you kidding me?
Febiven pulling off the moves to save the game here. He didn't even commit the shockwave. Rivy still has it. They are back in the base, 57 minutes in. They lose the inhibitor, but they have the Baron, and they will have their time on the map.
That was necessary. Cody Sun crits it for 448 as Febiven moves and hits the W here. Watch this headshot, or this crit come through here. There, it's 1,100 is the last number you see. 700 of that is from Febiven.
Oh, it's been 100 Thieves stealing those away. It was the Morgana binding from Aphromoo. It was the Feast from Ssumday stealing those dragons, and Febiven with the game on the line, with the series on the line, finals on the line, steals a Baron on this Orianna, and that is huge.
And look at this. We actually see a Rage Blade for Apollo. He has swapped out items now.
Swapped out his boots.
This is a Rage Blade that doesn't have the percent AD or percent AP. This is the flat stack up. He's looking for a ton of attack speed for that Blade of the Ruined King. He has to get through tanks, so he's looking for that to stack.
But he is going to be lower on mobility, and it's hard to play this style where he's zipping in and out without those boots to aid him in avoiding some of these skill shots. He's got to be careful.
He's been putting himself on the front line, so it's got to be even trickier now, and he's said, I can do it. He's taking it upon himself. The rest of the team as well playing very good here as Clutch Gaming have 100 Thieves backs against the wall.
And that's what you want to see, Riv. As you said, he's saying, I can do this. I can pull this off.
Yes.
You need the confidence. That banner, you're chasing it.
LirA gets himself out. Could have been messy, but the Black Shield has come up huge for Hakuho's main. That wheelhouse Morgana he's able to get in the last game. Everybody's stepping up for Clutch Gaming here in what many thought would be a 100 Thieves moving on, and not the case. 5 games strong, and now 30 seconds from 60 minutes in as these teams push each other.
If you told me that Clutch Gaming were going to be in the finals, I would have called you crazy. They have 3 members of the 10th place team Envy, and then the team that finished, it got knocked out of the first round of playoffs last split, and then they got a different solo laner in both lanes. They picked up a pretty much inexperienced top laner, only a handful of games to his name in the LCS, and then they got Febiven. What's the synergy gonna be like? And right now, Clutch are showing that they potentially deserve to fight for number 1 and 2.
Absolutely insane as well. Apollo feeling strong to stay on the front line, gets himself to safety as you heard the crowd counting to that 60-minute mark. We have crested an hour into the game, and we'll see who can really play this one to the max. 100 Thieves now have to show that they can take a hit this late in the game. If they can, it makes them even more of a formidable opponent going on to the finals, but Clutch has shown so strong, they may not let 100 Thieves show that.
Never have I ever seen an hour into the game a take of a cloud break.
The longest surviving dragon ever.
Do we have the earliest
The
and the latest?
time.
We have the earliest and the latest cloud break in this series?
Good night, sweet prince.
May flights of drakes lay thee to thy rest.
Oh my word. Did we just vocab change? Is that what an hour does to you? Jeez.
As long as we're going that direction with our vocabulary.
Oh man. Looking at only a small gold lead right now. 7-7 in turrets, a little bit of math. 11 are on each side, as you can tell. 4 left to fall. I don't even know if we're going to be getting to those for each side. A team's going to want to be one and done if they can find their way to the Nexus turrets.
So right now, 100 Thieves, there's so much damn gold in the game. They're buying Zerat portals. We just saw Cody Sun. He bought a Banner of Command, used it, sold it, rebought his items. This is the point in the game that we are at.
And it's honestly a really smart move to make. It's not always going to be a game decider, but so much has been about those side lanes, and you can use the banner, sell it, get a Zerat, use that, sell it, rebuy your items, and these are optimizations that you should be going for. Is it always going to decide the game? No. But could it decide the game? Yes. We have seen how much these matches have been about side lane control, especially 61 minutes into the game. It's about map positioning. It's about who gets the better start of the fight, and forcing someone to answer that side lane can be done just by an item swap like that.
Also, for each player in their particular role, it's a new realm to sell and buy these items. What do you get? What's right? What do you sell for? What do you buy for? And they're trying to make that right choice. Who knows what the right one is? How many times do you actually get to see this?
I mean, the Rageblade Ezreal, I cannot think of the last time I saw that, but hey, it seems like it makes a lot of sense. To Zirene's point, you have the Blade of the Rune King, you're trying to punch through these massive tanks, get that stacking up, and maybe you have a better chance to compete with the Caitlyn as far as frontline DPS, and they need every little bit that they can get. You can see the Ornn upgrades have come through for everyone except Hakuho. I really like that Ornn upgraded locket for LirA. That is going to be, I think, very impactful. And I mean, it's just going to come down to execution at this point.
It's been down to execution for a while now, to be completely honest.
100,000 gold apiece. Dead even.
Boom! Gold means nothing at this point. Take it away. Start from 0. Everything says 0, 0.
Next game.
Isn't that what they tell you? It's all 0, 0.
Look at that.
0,
Don't
0.
spend
No
it all
games.
in one place, Riv.
Don't spend it all in one place. Holy moly. Damage over the entire game.
Yeah, the big thing to look at is the fact that 100 Thieves, Ryu, even though he's that AP Galio, he's not contributing that much damage to these fights. It's the Cody Sun show. It's 4 tanks and Cody, and that's what they've been relying on in this game, the faith in this guy, and he hasn't let them down just yet in this game. So far, he's been performing in this high-pressure situation with everybody just kind of throwing themselves in front of him. He got hit by some bindings, has those fast fingers today, so it's, like you said, Azael, it's playing with the execution in mind here and being able to deliver, and that's what it comes down to.
And the Baron is up in 40, and it seems like that is what these teams have decided this game will be settled at, right? You know, this is the battlegrounds.
Gentleman's agreement.
A gentleman's agreement.
We gotta go for a Baron.
2 teams enter in the Baron pit.
Yep.
And it will be settled like men.
I was like, sometimes 2 teams leave too. Multiple times.
Multiple times this game as well. Also, look at
But eventually, one team.
It'll happen, we promise. Just wait. These dank vision scores around the map as well. 197 for LirA. This guy sees all.
This guy wards.
This guy wards.
He got the Ingenious Hunter so he could ward more, and almost hitting a 200 vision score. I haven't seen that either since we introduced vision score a little bit later when we already had the speed up mechanics in the game.
Crazy things are happening. Clutch is going to be able to tag in a new champion soon. We'll see here. 10-9 as the kills just start creeping up, but as you can see, it's always 1-for-1 or a trade that doesn't net one team that much of an advantage, and we keep stalling out in the mid lane. I think we may have spent more time in the mid lane than any other game here, and we're about to get the ARAM going. A little bit down mid here for Clutch Gaming. They say we see Ryu on the outside, and it may be the ultimate in to stop it if they are going to initiate from Clutch Gaming's side. So patient.
You have to be. I mean, if you make that one mistake, the game ends, right? You don't get another chance. 65 minutes in, the death timers are 70, 80 seconds. They are forcing the TP out.
All right.
Clutch have started the Baron, but they're going to pull off immediately. Now that they got Ryu's TP, that's all they really wanted.
Now the extension, can they actually get Ryu to want to go down to mid lane and say, we're away from Baron now? They're probably going to stay. This is where it starts to be a real sticky situation of who can get those initial shots in. Solo dodging to get the heals up. You can see right back to full health and topped off as they're Triss trying to go tit for tat in these small fights, but not getting anything. Oh, that's actually quite a bit. Solo not liking that damage. He'll be right as rain in a few seconds.
Yeah, he can Warmogs up, but they did push up the minion wave. So now 100 Thieves, what they got was established control of mid lane. That gets you access to the Baron pit. This can move them in. They can clear out the vision. They can establish their own line of defense here. And Apollo does get low, but he'll heal right back up. He has so much lifesteal. It's 40% with the Bloodthirster, the Mercurial, and that Blade of the Rune King. So a couple autos, he's right as rain.
Yeah, sold the Rage Blade, got himself a Mercurial, so he has the magic resistance, and he also has the QSS effect and lifesteal. But now we have the Elder Dragon up in 30 seconds here. Now we have 2 objectives that will pull these guys to the sides.
It's the standard 66-minute Elder Dragon spawn.
I am trying to keep my eye on where Febiven moves this ball throughout these fights. It's kind of the priority target. We'll see that Apollo stays on the back. He's been playing the bottom side of fights or kind of towards the left of all of these if he has the chance. So keep an eye on him and Febiven as they trade back and forth here in the mid lane, just waiting for minion waves.
I mean, it's you and everyone else, because you lose focus for 1 second and lose control of where that ball is, or it's hidden under someone. You lose focus. That can be it. but they are fighting. Meteos is pretty far up here.
Solo's taking a lot of damage.
Solo goes down immediately. Palm to face for him. He knows that was not a good play. This is going to be bad. Ragnarok is there, but this is going to be the Baron attempt, and that means that LirA cannot go in safely without the crowd control. The crowd behind 100 Thieves as they posture for Baron.
Clutch is going to go try to trade, though. They're going to go towards the Elder, and a Solo actually charged and hit the Trundle pillar, it looked like. He did not use his flash, so it's Clutch trading for the Elder. We'll see if they can get it. Remember, this will not last as long as the Baron buff, but they are going to be stronger during the Elder. So again, another trade, and if they can get back to base, they should be able to hang on. Maybe they give up an inhibitor, but 40 seconds on Solo, I don't think the 100 Thieves can end the game.
Yeah, that death timer is really long, so they'll get that inhibitor. Their side lanes aren't really in position either. If they want to, they could just ham-fist it, but at the same time, I still feel like Solo, he's going to be up in time.
Yeah, and it's risky. Pushing heavily into the Elder, that is, modified damage on the true damage.
Right.
That's also more from the Infernal buff.
Retake.
So these guys get stronger and stronger and stronger at this point, and it's going to continue. I mean, Solo is going to be back up. You can see that Ryu is pushing up in the top side. They're going to look to try to knock down multiple inhibitors with this one, but Wave Clear is also very powerful this late in the game.
Towards the top side, they've shown a full 5, so Clutch Gaming has an idea of what is happening here as they try to defend a few last times on the base. Yeah, Paula takes a big hit there as another one follows through from Cody Sun. LirA trying to deter from the right, and it looks like Clutch Gaming is going to be able to hold them off for a moment, but all they want is that cannon minion to do the damage.
Meteos actually popped his ult there on Solo, and they do knock down the turret, but Trundle without an ultimate is very squishy, so 100 Thieves will back off after it. They get the one inhibitor, but again, game will continue. You see Apollo shooting that ultimate down to bot lane, trying to control the side waves as best as he possibly can with that ultimate.
God, this game is just so even. Up at the top, we just see it so close. 70 minutes in. But they're playing to go to the finals, to go to Miami and play for that banner.
From new organization to finals. Both of these teams trying to make that impact and name for themselves here. Set it in the history books. 100 Thieves pressuring the base, but it's open on the other side of the map as we have seen. That inhibitor can be taken down quickly if Clutch Gaming gets themselves a win. It would be coast to coast for either fight.
And it's funny because in these moments, you usually look for that one person to step up and make that game-winning play. But there are so many people across these two teams that constantly are making plays back and forth, this tug of war for who has the more clutch performance.
You can see how even the game is. Just that kill onto Solo allowed them to now kind of jockey back and forth here. There aren't huge gains at all 70 minutes into the game, but that is big enough for 100 Thieves to feel really good about moving forward.
Yeah, getting that double inhibitor down gives you so much map pressure. They're going around the horn. They're trying to look for the triple inhib, which would be massive.
And this is an opportunity for them to do so for sure because the Elder Dragon has fallen off, and this is that window where you have 45 seconds, 2 waves for the Baron to push in.
Ssumday, his objective, get that bottom lane in. Ryu playing a little bit of mid-wall body defense if anyone tries to get through that base gate to get over to him. And they have everything capitalized on right now as they try to get that last minion wave in to sort and push Clutch Gaming thin across their base as these minions pile in.
I mean, Clutch may be forced into a hard engage that they don't want because this turret is going down very quick. Minions are pushing in on all sides. You can't give up that third inhib, or I think it's just lights out against this Caitlyn comp. So last inhibitor turret goes down, and they are moving forward. Apollo is somewhat separated.
Baron just about to wear off as they have lost that Elder. Seems like they'll be all right to just back and forth trade. These Warmogs are keeping everybody so healthy. Nobody really wants to take the extended fight just yet.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves are in a better map position because the minions are going to keep pushing into the Nexus turrets. Somebody has to answer them, and when somebody answers, there's a vulnerability where you can push up and get that inhibitor.
The game's become so even. It's just a slow strangle out here for 100 Thieves, suffocating Clutch Gaming so they cannot do anything. Shockwave! They can take huge shockwave on the backside. Meteos, Aphro, and Sun, or Cody Sun, are making their way to safety. Solo taking damage. Now it's going to be on to LirA, but he's safe. They turn around. Meteos takes a few more shots, and he get out safely as nobody drops right away. But Febiven shockwaves have staved off enough. Does the base stay alive?
Exposed, though. They're going to knock down the third inhibitor here in 100 Thieves. are cleaning up the base.
It could be enough to make their way in. They got a big wave coming in top side, or rather, now to come in, but I don't know how long they can stay. Not enough minions in the bot and mid. Do they ride the wave top? They have the health to stay, and it looks like they will pressure. No deaths on the side of Clutch Gaming, but a half-health Nexus turret.
Man, this middle inhibitor is also really close to coming back up here for the side of Clutch Gaming. So you can see 100 Thieves are sticking around. Cody Sun doesn't have much mana, but still, as long as somebody doesn't die, you can keep going. These Warmogs, Meteos almost dropped in that fight, and then he comes back healthy, and you can continue the siege. And that's what we're seeing, is this game has been non-stop tug of war.
Just a game of inches. You can see Ssumday up on the top side trying to push this in. Looks like 100 Thieves perhaps are finally making the call to actually back off.
And that's because Baron is up in 2 minutes here.
Stay again. They canceled the recall there from Ssumday, and they're just going to continue staying here.
Because it's the inhib.
Yeah, nothing to buy, and they want to kill this inhibit as it's respawning. We'll see if Clutch actually try to pull the trigger and defend this. They really don't want to give up 3 inhibs.
Their carries have backed, and now they have full HP and mana. Apollo runs up here. That would be the opportunity for them to go.
Shockwave also ready once more, and can be a game changer. We saw Febiven finding that big one in the last fight, but wasn't enough to get a kill.
Damage onto Ssumday.
It's getting low.
Ooh. Almost taking down the taunt from Ryu to ensure that nobody can follow through. Call the Forge God says that's the fight.
Is caught by
we
Binding.
can actually hit. Clutch Gaming looking very good at the start here. The entrance from Ryu knocks them up, but the follow through and damage is big enough. Ssumday on the side, knife, Febiven and Apollo, but they get themselves to safety as well. What a back and forth as both teams continue to be able to fight.
It's a 1-for-1, but again, 100 Thieves will stay around and they will go for the inhibitor. The Nexus turrets are falling to the super minions as they pile in, and Clutch are on their last legs. This could be it.
This is huge. Clutch Gaming on their last leg, balancing on a thread that 100 Thieves is looking to cut. LirA pushing himself to the limit as he gets in the face of Cody Sun. He has no mana, but he only needs the autos. 100 Thieves from new organization to first place. Now right another heist, an attempt to take down Team Liquid in Miami.
And congratulations, 100 Thieves. Their first split in the franchise era. They will be in the finals. They will take on Team Liquid, and they will fight for that banner.
And it could not have been any closer. 75 minutes into the game. 100 Thieves and Clutch still neck and neck, still fighting down to the wire. Clutch hang on forever, but just fall short as Cody Sun on that Caitlyn, able to finally get the fight he needs.
And you gotta say, Cody Sun played out of his mind in this game, because one mistake in this composition, one misposition, will cost you the entire game because it revolves around you, but he was able to deliver 121,000 damage to champions that game for Cody Sun. Woo! And for Nadeshot, you know, that's gotta feel fantastic. Came in with something to prove here. And that championship white in the jersey, well, they...
One step closer.
Looking clean. One step closer, probably as well. Breaks his trend. Gets his first semifinal under his belt.
Yeah, it's the first semifinal win there for Prawley. He's going to have his first crack at a championship here in North America. And 100 Thieves will be facing Team Liquid. And that is going to be an insane finals. 100 Thieves were tested heavily today.
Woo. And the big thing I'm looking at is Doublelift versus Aphromoo for the cup. The NALCS championship on the line between those two. The broken up Rush Hour bottom lane.
I was afraid that Clutch Gaming was really going to flip the script there, but we're good. We got it.
Well, for Clutch Gaming, though, like, you seriously, if you're a Clutch Gaming fan, you have to be very proud of that performance.
Amazing.
It took them the distance. It couldn't have been any closer than that in terms of the number of games, in terms of the length of the final game, and they went the distance. They made 100 Thieves work for that performance and work for that appearance in the finals.
And they still, are going to be in Miami. They will be fighting for that third place and a chance to represent North America at Rift Rivals and take down a U.
That's true.
Absolutely crazy. So we actually look at how it kind of came to be. 100 Thieves really kind of playing not the same thing over and over again, but being able to alter midway to part, halfway through the game. Early games were great for them. When Clutch Gaming got the lead, it seemed like Clutch Gaming took it to the Nexus, and then 100 Thieves. It took them a few games to figure that out, and that could be scary for them going into the finals. Absolutely. To hear more from our finalists, however, let's send it down to Avali and Solo Damage Source for one.